I think we need where the water's calmer so that the cameraman can like.
Yeah.
This isn't good.
That gimbal's doing a pretty good job though. I'm impressed. Right now your phone is worth more than $20, so like you would be more upset about losing the phone than the $20 worth of Bitcoin that's on there, but later on you can write it down with a pen and paper. So it's just gonna be the 12 words. And if you have those 12 words, and if your phone were to break or you dropped off the side of the boat when you get a new phone, you just put in the 12 words into the new phone and boom, your money's there, just like it is now.
Just like a regular bank.
Yeah.
Just like, kind of like a regular bank, but like it's important to keep those words secret because anybody else that gets your 12 words can also access the money that's in your wallet. So you have to keep them secret.
Hope you don't come and access it.
I gave you the $20, it's yours. I'm not gonna hack you.
So, you're the sender of $20.
Yep.
But do I see you send me $20? I see your name or something?
No, you don't know, like I'll tell you my name, but if I didn't tell you my name, you would have no idea who sent it to you. So my name is Roger. So,
Okay.
yeah. And I have a task for you though, because I gave you $20 and you seem pretty happy about it. The captain seems a little bit skeptical, so I'm gonna give you another $20. And later on, when it's just the two of you and you don't have any customers, you can explain it to him and you can set him up with a wallet and send the $20 to the captain. Is that a fair trade? Sent, received.
Right.
Just like that. So Captain, he has your $20, so make sure you get it from him a little bit later. So.
Say those 12 words.
Right, that's right.
Nice.
I'll write them down for you if you want.
don't listen to him. That's a joke. You keep your 12 words secret. Yeah.
I was testing him.
Yeah. He's a trusting guy. Yeah. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
That's such a beautiful view, huh?
Ooh, this nice.
Let's go to the air-conditioned room, and then when Alex gets back, well, I'll get some lunch. Does that sound like a plan? Hello. Nice to see you again. Here we go. So today we're just going to have like a meet and greet, and then tomorrow will be the actual conference? Okay. Oh, you guys are smart to be in the nice air-conditioned room here. It's hot outside. We got a bunch of other Bitcoin.com guys here. So
I always joke and say, look, if you can get one of the phone companies on board to accept top-ups with Bitcoin, with BCH, it's a done deal. So it's going to need like that everyday. They want to be because
everyday usability.
Because with the phone top-up system, they already used to that kind of digital
and
transfers.
They're like the cashless system.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been to a bank on a Tuesday and a Monday, and you have to
thankfully not recently, but big giant lines. Yeah.
On this island, and you have to wait in a queue outside of the bank.
Yeah.
So the security guy can say, okay, 2 people left, just 1, because this guy, you're a little on the heavy side. You might come on, that sort of thing. And I'm making light of it, but that's a major inconvenience, especially when you're trying to run around. So to push that, that's a major push for me.
Let's give them a tool where they can forget waiting in lines at the bank and just click.
Even if it takes, I could just do it right there and I don't even have to worry about going to the bank.
Exactly.
And I get my receipt and I'm good. Just keep that store.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I think the public transport system can also be revamped.
I brought a really good demo that I think would be applicable to the taxi drivers. But this is a public and private key. Have you seen this demo ever before, Alex? Or do you have your phone handy? I'll show you how it works. Like, this is the address that's all the information anybody needs in order to receive money. So the taxi driver could have this right on his dash or his rearview mirror or like somewhere inside the car. And then this is all that's required to spend that money. He wouldn't tell the customers that one. All the taxi driver would need is just put this one somewhere on his taxi board and he'd be able to receive money. So, but the really neat part is if you hit the scan button right in the very middle, and if you scan this,
here we go.
And if you take a sweet paper wallet, it's going to check for money that's on there. And it says no Bitcoin Cash found, no Bitcoin found, right? And in fact, we ship it. So now what I'm going to do, I just scanned this with my phone. I'm going to send $5 from my phone to this piece of paper. So if you watch right here on my phone, I'll hit slide to send, and we're sending $5 here. And so the money's about to go from my phone to this piece of paper. If you scan this again, it found Bitcoin Cash. It found the $5. So hit the sweep button, and now it's going to pull the $5 from this piece of paper, and it'll go to your phone. So it'll have gone from my phone to this piece of paper and now to your phone. So that the taxi drivers could just have their public address right there in the taxi. And then every time somebody pays them, boom, they'll get a notification in their phone. They won't have to do the extra scan. It'll do automatically. Long ago, and I don't have the logo up here because even before I made that, I launched a website called Bitcoinstore.com, which was the first website in the entire world to start accepting Bitcoin for hundreds of thousands of consumer electronics products. And before that, everybody said, yeah, Bitcoin, well, what can you really buy with it? And when that website launched, we could say you could buy more than 500,000 electronics products for prices cheaper than Amazon. And everybody liked the sound of, oh, cheaper than Amazon, electronics, and they're into Bitcoin. It was a perfect match. And we sold millions of dollars worth of electronics to that website. And suddenly, Bitcoin became useful for people in commerce. And that was the website that became the impetus for other websites like Tiger Direct and Newegg and Overstock to start accepting Bitcoin in the future. So right now, today, we have another tool that we can promote to the world for why they should start using Bitcoin in their own life and give them a financial reason to do so. And that website is purse.io, which allows anybody with some Bitcoin Cash to get somewhere in the ballpark of a 20% discount on every purchase from Amazon. So you can go out there and buy some Bitcoin Cash for maybe a 1 to 5% fee, depending on how and where you buy it, and then save 20 or 25% on your purchases on Amazon. So your net savings are 15 to 20% using a website called purse.io. So I want everybody out there in the world that's currently shopping on Amazon, head on over to purse.io, and you can figure out how you can save 15 or 20% on Amazon on every single purchase for whatever you want by using Bitcoin Cash. We're sponsoring meetup groups all around the world, and we're trying to tell people all around the world. And one fun thing that we've gotten some help from people in Nigeria, the news website Nigeria Today, I don't know if you're familiar with that one, it seems to be pretty popular. They syndicate almost all of our news articles, and so we get a lot of traffic on Bitcoin.com from Nigeria, which is fun too. But our motto from day one has been that Bitcoin is for everyone in every country right now, so we just need everybody's help getting the word out. Do you have some friends in Nigeria still?
I live in San Francisco.
But you're from there originally, right? Everybody in San Francisco already has Bitcoin. San Francisco is one of the hubs. So I'm going to send you $25. 5 for you and $5 for 4 of your friends, but I want them to be in Nigeria, so you're going to send them, all they have to do is install our app and text message you that. So hit the receive button right there on the bottom. There you go. So I'll scan that. And so here you can see on my phone, I'm going to send 25. And the fee for me to send that is going to be less than a penny.
Wow.
And I just hit slide to send, and we'll wait one more second for it to send that. Sent, received. The money went literally from my phone to her phone, just like that. Did you give your name?
My name is Daisy.
No, but on the phone app, did you have to give your name?
No, I didn't.
Did you have to give your email?
No.
Did you have to give your tax ID number?
No.
Did you have to give a scan of your passport?
No.
Pretty easy, right?
This is like sorcery.
It's like magic internet money.
I trade stocks, right?
Okay.
I trade investments. I have my first $10 I ever made.
Congratulations.
And now I want you to trade me $10 on Cashcoin for my first $10. And then later on, I want to keep it later on and buy it back from you, whoever place you choose to
Okay.
make.
I would be honored to do that.
Want
So,
to?
yeah,
Okay.
I'd be absolutely honored. Thank you.
First $10 I ever made.
I have a little bit
Yeah.
tingles. So
You have a pen? So you can sign
should
it?
we sign it? Yeah, I have a pen, I think. So I will be holding this
Yes.
safe and sound for you until the next time. So let me send you your $10 in Bitcoin Cash, and we'll send 10 US. Thank you.
Yes.
I put the $10 somewhere very safe, and I'll have it ready for you.
Yeah.
So, very, very nice to meet you. A lot of people know the story, but maybe some people don't already. When I first heard about Bitcoin for the first time, I got so excited about this. And I was eating breakfast at my table, listening to a podcast, and they mentioned Bitcoin. I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me Google it. And then I started reading about it as I was eating some cereal. And I read more and read more. And I was planning to go into my office that day, but no, I heard about Bitcoin. I stayed home the entire day, reading about Bitcoin all day. And usually I go to bed at a fairly reasonable hour. Not on this day. I stayed up all night until the next day, until about 2 p.m. the next day. And that was by far the latest I'd ever stayed up in my entire life. And at maybe 2 p.m., I fell asleep for about an hour and a half. I got up at 3:30 p.m., an hour and a half later, and had to read more about Bitcoin. And then I stayed up all night the next night as well, until maybe 10 a.m. the next morning, reading about Bitcoin, everything I could find. And then I went to sleep for maybe only 2.5 hours, and then did it again and stayed up all night the next day. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this went on for about a week of sleeping maybe 2 hours a day. And after a week of that happening, I got so sick. And I called my friend on the phone, I said, help me, please. And I got a really bad sore throat and just felt horrible. And I was too sick to even drive myself. And he was luckily a really good friend of mine. He came to my house, picked me up, and then drove me to the hospital. Wow. And they gave me some sort of a sedative and antibiotics. And he drove me home, and I went to sleep and probably slept for like 16 hours nonstop. And then woke up, and it was more Bitcoin all day. And here we are, and like now I managed to sleep at night. But it's, we're almost 8 years later, and it's been all Bitcoin all day, every day, because it's one of. And I remember I spent the first couple of weeks pondering too, like what inventions in the history of humankind are more important than Bitcoin. And there were very, very few that I could come up with. So I guess the wheel has been pretty darn important. So I guess you could make an argument that that's been more important than the invention of Bitcoin. And electricity, that's been pretty darn important. Without that, you wouldn't have Bitcoin. The transistor has been incredibly important in our lives. Mm-hmm. And the internet itself, without that, you couldn't have all this worldwide communication. And that was about the end of my list of inventions that have been more important than the invention of Bitcoin. And if you study what the origin of money is and what makes good money money, one of the characteristics that's required for money to be money is fungibility. And fungibility just means that every piece of money is the same as every other piece. So if I take out an EC bill out of my pocket and hand it to you, it's just as good as any other EC bill that anybody else hands to you. And you can hand it to somebody else, and they won't say, oh, you got this piece of paper from Roger. We want one that you got from somebody else. Like, nobody ever says that when it comes to paper money, cash. And that's why paper money, that's part of the reason why paper money works as money, because every piece of paper money is the same as every other piece, and same with every other coin. And before that, people used tobacco. Well, most pieces of tobacco is about the same as every other piece of tobacco. Or, 1 ounce gold coin is the same as pretty much every other 1 ounce gold coin there. So fungibility is one of the characteristics that makes money money. But if you think about it, fungibility is just another way of saying privacy. So if I send you some Bitcoin, it has to be just the same as if anybody else sent you some Bitcoin from somebody else. Right. And if you break that fungibility of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, you break its usefulness as money. So one of the characteristics that make money money is fungibility. And in order to have fungibility, you have to have private transactions. If the transactions aren't able to be private at some point, then the money's not fungible. But sometimes it's fantastic where you have a transaction that's totally public, and you want the entire world to be able to trace the origin of funds. But sometimes you don't want that, and that's the really neat part about blockchains, is it can do both those things. So, for example, if you were to donate a bunch of money to a charity or pay a bunch of money to a government to do something, it would be nice to have some visibility as to where the money goes. But one fun example I'll talk about from in Japan, when I was first telling people in Japan about Bitcoin, one of the earliest examples of this was a company was really interested in using Bitcoins for payments, because they said that there's a big problem in Japan that Japanese men, there's all sorts of chargebacks on credit cards because Japanese men want to go and buy dirty things on the internet with their credit cards. Mm-hmm. And then the bill shows up to the house, and the wife says, look what somebody used our credit card for. And the husband says, oh, no, honey, I would never buy something like that on the internet. Our credit card must have been hacked and had the credit card number stolen. So then they issue a chargeback with the credit card company. And the husband's angry because he can't buy dirty things on the internet. The wife is angry because she thinks their credit card got stolen. The company selling dirty things on the internet is angry because they had a chargeback. And the credit card company is angry because they have to deal with a kind of a false chargeback and issue a new credit card. And it's this like horrible cycle. And like these payment processors in the US like, we can use Bitcoin to solve this problem. And I thought that was a funny example of how like that's an instance in which fungibility is beneficial because afterwards the husband's happy because he can buy whatever he wants on the internet. The wife's happy because their credit card's not being stolen anymore. And the payment processor is happy because they're not having chargebacks. And I thought that was an interesting example of how fungibility can be important when it comes to money. So at Bitcoin.com, we're keeping an eye on where the whole market is going. But we're currently focused on Bitcoin Cash because that's the version of Bitcoin described in the original Bitcoin white paper. And that's the version of Bitcoin that made Bitcoin popular to begin with worldwide as money. So we want to work on building the tools to make it as useful as we possibly can for everybody all over the world. And one of the important things that makes money useful is its network effect. So think about how much more convenient the EC would be if it was the money that was used by every single person all over the planet. You'd never have to worry about exchange rates or international wires if everybody was using the EC dollar everywhere. We view Bitcoin Cash the same way. If we get everybody using it everywhere, then it becomes the most useful currency for everyone. And there's also tokenization coming to Bitcoin Cash, though. So we will be adding the ability for people to issue tokens within the Bitcoin.com wallet, send and receive tokens, redeem tokens, do all of that sort of thing right there from within the Bitcoin.com wallet on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. But if some other cryptocurrency winds up getting a much bigger network effect worldwide and becomes more useful than Bitcoin Cash in the future, then we'll wind up switching to that because at the end of the day, we want to provide our customers with the best quality product at the lowest possible price with the best user experience. So, but right now, today, we think that's on Bitcoin Cash.
Thank you.
Thank you very much as well. We have 4 Bitcoin ATM machines physically here in St. Kitts. We're looking for some businesses to host them. So if you're interested in hosting a Bitcoin Cash ATM machine at your business here in St. Kitts, go and give an email to alex@bitcoin.com, and we can work out all the details to make that happen so that everybody in St. Kitts can save 20% on Amazon. I think people would be pretty happy with that. Once we have an ATM machine up or two, we'll do a bunch of ads to people in St. Kitts to how to use the ATM machines to save 20% on Amazon. And I'd love to see help get the word out for that. And I assume we can pay you in Bitcoin Cash for the ads?
Of course, why
Of
not?
course. Good answer. That's the perfect answer. So
Why not?
perfect answer.
Right. So email is best.
Email is definitely the best way for me. And then
No problem. That works for me too.
okay, perfect. Yeah, we
All
love
right,
you. Bill.
Ronan. Nice meeting you.
Very nice meeting you as well, Andre. Thank you very much for the opportunity there. This is Maria. She owns the Mill Coffee House in Frigate Bay, if you're familiar with that place.
Right.
And apparently she says the first ATM machine's going into her coffee house. So.
Yeah, but because I've put myself into a line 2 years ago.
Maybe 3, yeah, 2 or 3, yeah.
3 years in a row we're trying to get the ATM Bitcoin machine to the mill. Well done, Caribbean.
Caribbean time, right?
Caribbean.
How many years?
Yeah.